The most fundamental issue in international relations, in my opinion, is the repeated failure of the enforcement of international law. Please allow me to illustrate this using two of the most recent international conflicts as examples, as well as one that is much older but is much closer to home. Since 2014, a US-led coalition has carried out airstrikes in Syria without the authorization of the sovereign Syrian state. A UN Security Council resolution did in fact arrive this past November, but the ambiguity in its language adds very little to the question of the legality of these airstrikes. Now, although I recognize the necessity of these measures and the urgency of the situation in Syria, this instance still proves a certain lack of political will of always enforcing international law consistently. Crimea is still in crisis. The UN Security Council is incapable of acting against one of its permanent and veto-holding members. The sanctions enacted by the United States and the European Union have achieved limited success, but have at least so far failed in coercing Russia to reverse its actions in Ukraine. It appears, therefore, that a major power has sought to secure its national interests in the region, and in doing so has in fact proved a certain deficiency in the international law enforcement mechanism. Now, a more personal example is the ongoing illegal occupation of my home country of Cyprus and the dissection of my hometown. Turkey has been found to be in violation of the European Convention on Human Rights in over 50 different cases, including the case of the still unpunished murders of 2 Greek Cypriots within the UN-administered buffer zone. In addition to this, UN-mediated peace talks have proven fruitless so far, and my island remains divided. It is my opinion that a law is not a law unless it is enforced invariably and consistently. So far, it appears that liberal institutionalist aspirations have done very little to challenge the time-tested realist worldview. It is my opinion, then, that we must engage in a more coordinated, collaborative international effort if we are to ever challenge Thucydides' assertion that right is only in question among equals in power, while the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must.